So today I want to introduce is like one of my favorite, I think, because he's a mysterious guy to me. Still, I know him about 3 years now, and he's still a mysterious guy. I don't know much about him in the past, what he has done, but I know he's a businessman. He has been doing all kind of businesses, and we are going to learn about his business. And I call him Mr. Bob. So, Bob, what is your name?
My name is Bob
Uh,
Yugan Schmid.
what? How do you say it?
Yugan Schmid.
Yugan Schmid.
German.
German. Oh, are you from German?
No, my grandparents were.
Your grandparents.
My grandfather was from outside of Frankfurt,
Uh huh.
of the Black Forest area, really.
Uh huh.
And my grandmother was from Zurich, Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yeah,
So you are like German and Switzerland mix.
that's right.
Wow, what an interesting mixture. I mean, this is America. We meet all kind of people from everywhere, and that's what I love about America. Actually, meeting all kind of people who are really mixed in the world, like very, peaceful world from people from everywhere. They connect somehow, and then make a life, right? So you are a result of that.
That's right.
Yes. So I'm very excited to learn about your story, and I know I have been, I have known you about 3 years since 2021, and you are the owner of this building.
That's
And
right.
I, as far as I remember, you said that you engineered this.
That's right.
You're right. So, are you an engineer?
Yes, I am an
Tell
engineer.
me about the in your career path, like how. So, what was your like a major like thing, or what made you to come to engineering? Did you start your college as an engineer, like to become an engineer, or how it happens?
When I got out of the Air Force in 1964,
Mm-hmm.
I decided, well, let me take you back a step.
Okay.
When I got out of high school, I was just like a lot of other kids.
Uh huh. What does that mean?
I wanted to go to the beach all the time,
Oh, fun.
and I wanted to do fun things,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't have enough time or energy to take
Uh
care of my schoolwork.
huh.
So obviously, I didn't do very well in college. Uh, when I got out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
I went to junior college for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't do that well.
Mm-hmm.
About that time, the Vietnam War started.
Okay, that is way back
That
in
is 1960.
1960.
And yeah, I graduated from high school in 1960, and they initiated the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, you either get drafted
Mm-hmm.
or you enlist.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to enlist, and I enlisted in the Air Force.
Oh wow.
And I put my first 4 years in the Air Force,
Mm-hmm.
going in, being stationed in Florida for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and then being stationed in the Philippines and Vietnam. I finally
Okay.
wound up in Vietnam anyway.
Yeah.
And when I got discharged in June of 1964, I realized that I should have paid better attention in high school. And
Okay.
now it was a time when I saw how the world could treat you if
Mm-hmm.
you didn't have an education.
Oh, you realize that.
Then I got an awakening.
Oh, that was a good awakening point.
And I went to junior college. I signed up with St. Pete Junior College. At that
Uh-huh.
time, it was a junior college. Now it's a
You mean in
college.
St. Petersburg here?
St. Petersburg Junior College.
Oh.
And they had a satellite
Mm-hmm.
campus in Clearwater.
Uh-huh.
And I decided, because I was seeing a young lady at that time,
Okay, dating.
and her father
Mhm.
was an engineer and a surveyor,
Oh,
and I got to know him very well.
uh-huh.
And I really liked what he was doing. I could relate to it.
Okay.
So I decided I want to go into engineering. And
Ah,
he would work on airfields over in the Bahamas and all through the islands. That's where he worked. And he
wow.
would go over there 6 weeks at a time and then come
Yeah.
home. And I thought, that sounds like a pretty good life.
Yeah,
I'd
definitely.
like to do that. So
Yes.
I signed up for engineering courses
Mhm.
at junior college,
Mhm.
and I spent 2 years going for an associate's degree in pre-engineering,
Wow.
which is all your science, your physics, your calculus, math,
Yes, I
all
remember
that,
those things.
and a few English courses, but not that many. It was
Yeah.
technical writing and things like
Yes.
this.
I think everybody has to go through.
I graduated with an associate's degree
Hmm.
in pre-engineering,
Hmm.
and I decided to continue at junior college for another 2 years.
Okay.
And my major then was mechanical technology,
Oh,
all about gear trains and machines.
so it wasn't civil engineering though.
It wasn't civil engineering,
Oh,
but it was mechanical, more related to
more.
mechanical engineering.
Okay.
And so I got an associate's in science degree.
Mhm.
There was a job market open at that time where they came to your campus,
Mhm.
and IBM offered me a position over at Cape Kennedy.
Oh, IBM offered you a job.
That's correct.
Wow. Okay.
And I worked for about a year and a half
Mm.
at the Cape on the Saturn V launch vehicle.
So this is after you graduated as a mechanical engineer.
That's correct.
Mm.
And I was working on the ammonia-based air conditioning system,
Okay.
along with installation and testing of all the electrical components, mechanical and electrical components in the instrument unit in that launch vehicle,
Mm.
which is the 3 foot high unit directly under the module itself.
Okay.
And it took care of all the mechanical, the air conditioning for space.
Mhm.
And I worked at the Cape for IBM until NASA lost its funding. And in 1969,
Mhm.
I came back to Tampa.
Mhm.
Actually, I grew up in Largo, but I decided to go to University of South Florida,
Oh, welcome back to
to,
yourself.
which was in Tampa.
Yes.
I came back, I bought a house, and went to school for 2 years
Mhm.
at University of South Florida.
Mhm.
What happened in registering
Mhm.
for the College of Engineering? Actually, I signed up for, there was a department in the University of South Florida engineering department at that time called the SMF department, Structures, Materials, and Fluids.
Okay. Wow.
And I was able to transfer 180 hours over from junior college.
So when you had a mechanical engineering degree, so you already had a bachelor degree with mechanical engineering.
Well, it was a mechanical technology.
Mechanical technology.
Yes. But so I transferred the hours over,
Okay.
but because I had calculus, I had
Yes.
physics,
Mm.
I had geometry,
Mhm.
I had trig, I had statics, I
Yeah.
had dynamics.
Yeah.
All those engineering courses I transferred over, which were really over and above my core courses
Uh-huh.
at USF.
Uh-huh.
So I found myself taking a few of the core courses that I didn't have,
Hmm.
and then I had to step into, because I ran out of courses
Yes.
for a Bachelor of Science degree, I had to take upper level courses, 600 level courses, which was for a master's degree.
Wow. So what did you get?
So my specialty was in structures,
Yeah. Okay.
but I also have a secondary degree in water resources, which is
Hmm.
drainage.
Yeah.
And but I leaned heavily toward structures.
Hmm.
But it was so broad based that I could go into either one. So when I graduated in 1971 from
Hmm.
USF,
Yeah.
I was offered a job with Griner Engineering.
What engineering?
Griner, they're
Grinder.
a
What's that?
they're a civil and mechanical engineering company.
Uh-huh.
They do a lot of interstate design,
Hmm.
airport design,
Hmm.
uh, rather large things. They don't really do subdivisions. They do a lot of municipal work.
Hmm.
So I was able to get in there, and when I went in and got retained by Griner,
Hmm.
I was told that I could go in the structures department because there was an opening coming
Okay.
because somebody was retiring
Hmm.
and they were going to move people up. So
Yeah.
I had a position,
Gotcha.
and I was leaning mainly toward bridge design.
Huh.
So when the day to actually go there and start work, and I had my final interview, which was I was hired anyway,
Yes.
they told me that Mr. X did not retire. He decided to stay,
Uh-huh.
but we do have an opening in our drainage department.
Yeah.
I said, okay, I can go into drainage.
Uh-huh.
My first job and task,
Hmm.
let's say, in that department was to develop a computer program because I had a lot of programming experience.
So you are a programmer too?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. I only thought like you are just a civil engineer or a structural engineer.
Yeah.
I'm a computer engineering.
Mhm.
I mean, I graduated as a computer engineer, and we do programming. And I didn't know until you just right now, and you said you're a programmer too.
Mhm.
That's interesting.
So I was writing computer programs
Hmm.
for interstate work.
Okay.
The drainage system is in interstates.
Hmm.
Um, I worked on Tampa International Airport. I worked on a Cape Coral,
Uh-huh.
which is down in Naples area,
Uh-huh.
Fort Myers, Naples area.
Yeah.
That's a 110 square mile drainage basin.
Uh-huh.
And I developed all the programs for sizing bridge openings in the canals
Okay.
for all the bridges.
Okay.
And I was able to do underwater bridge inspections,
Hmm.
all the bridges over in St. Lucie County.
Mhm.
I would go and put my scuba gear on, go down and look at all the columns, the spread footers on the bottom, and check for cracks and things like
When
this.
was this? Like 1970s?
In the early 1970s.
I wasn't in this world. I didn't know why I was.
So I did that. I inspected all the drainage structures,
Hmm.
inlets and pipes
Hmm.
on the Florida Turnpike all the way from Miami
Uh-huh.
all the way up to Wildwood.
Wow.
Every pipe, every drainage structure we looked at.
Wow.
We did cross sections of the road to find out how much dips and the wear and tear on the road was experiencing. Did the reports for all that.
Wow.
And then after a tenure in Griner, I stayed there for a couple years, 2.5 years.
Mhm.
And I was offered a position. There were some of the principals, uh, department heads in Griner that decided to leave and start their own business.
Okay. You started.
No, some of the department heads.
Oh, hey, it's okay.
One was a structural engineer,
Mhm.
one was a utility and roadway engineer, and the other was a surveyor.
Okay.
So that was sort of a complete package
Hmm.
for doing development.
Yeah.
They were at the end of their experience level for doing municipal work at Griner.
Hmm.
So they decided to strike out, do a little bit of municipal work, but do private work also,
Okay, not just government.
not just government work.
Okay.
So after they got started and were up and running for quite a few months,
Yes.
they asked me to come over with them. And I said, yeah, it's an opportunity. I
Uh-huh.
have, when the opportunity knocks on your door,
Yes.
don't let the door close. Look
Yeah.
at it. Look at it.
Got it. Okay. You never know when there's
You never know. You have to evaluate it.
Huh?
There's decisions to be made, especially when you're married and have a family.
Oh, were you married back then when that
Yes.
happened?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we will talk about that after that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. So you started, in the beginning, like you didn't care about education, and then all of a sudden, after you being in military, Air Force, right? So you happened to be in Vietnam.
Yes. I
Oh, wow.
was.
So you're a
I was.
veteran.
I was on a flight crew over in Vietnam.
Okay,
I
wow,
was a bombardier.
wow. So you were in the real war.
I was in. I was there. Yes.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's interesting. And then after that, you got kind of awakened that I need to get further education, and then you started to go back to school, and engineering happened because of your girlfriend.
That's correct.
Wow. So you're,
It's amazing how life presents opportunities.
did you plan for those?
Did I plan for
Yeah.
it? No.
Exactly. That's that. Me either. Nobody.
When the opportunity comes knocking, you've got to evaluate and look at it.
Look at it. Yes.
So then I, when I was working at this new firm that was based in Tampa, we were doing roadway design, we were doing subdivisions. I was pretty much responsible for design of subdivisions, roadways, sewer systems, drainage systems, lift stations.
Whoa. So we live today in modern Tampa, and that you guys work hard to build this whole Tampa area and this Florida.
That's right.
You guys work hard to build this city today.
That's correct.
Thank you for your service for in every ways. Not only just a military, and then even like as an engineer, you have been in the development of the city and the whole this Florida. Well, pretty much Florida state, right?
I was doing everything from small 7-Eleven sites
Mm.
to 1,800-acre subdivisions,
Wow.
200-acre industrial parks with railroads,
Okay.
um, a lot of different things.
Yes.
And that's the whole thing. You've got to diversify.
Yes.
You've got to learn different things.
Yes.
One thing I do want to say is when I finished and graduated from USF,
Hmm.
I continued to go to school 10 years after that.
10 years.
10 years. I was going to night school.
Even after you graduated from USF.
Yes.
So what degree did you get from USF?
I, I got a Bachelor of Science in Engineering. It's a very broad
Engineering.
base engineering degree.
It is not just like computer engineer or electrical engineer or civil
No,
engineer. Wow. Back then, how many students were in the US then? Because I'm curious. Now it's like 60,000 at Tampa campus alone, I believe.
so yeah, I was going to school for those 10 years
10 years.
just to have the knowledge. My mind was
So,
like an open sponge. I was just absorbing everything. I would absorb things at work.
how old were you? I mean, sorry about asking that. And
Oh, that goes so far back, I can't remember.
because I'm curious, the reason is that like there was a time that you did not focus on the school, right? When you were teenager, basically.
When I was a teenager.
Yeah. So, but after the awakening, just not just like 2, 3, 4 years in school, and you made like another 10 years even after you graduated.
Mhm.
That's a lot of drive, like a lot of energy to like keep going. And
You've got to have initiative.
you're right. Yeah.
If you want to get anywhere in the world, you can't sit back.
Yeah.
You have to develop the drive, the push, the
Yeah.
determination.
Yes, definitely.
And some of the determination came from my dad. He
Yeah.
pushed me right along.
Okay.
Some of the determination I got from being involved in weightlifting.
Oh, you did it
I was a competition lifter.
Oh,
So
what
when
did I tell you?
so when you're in competition,
Yeah.
you have and you're doing a standing press.
Yes.
You push that weight up.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a lot of weight up here on your shoulder.
Yes.
You've got to have the determination to get that up,
Yes.
straight up, and lock
Straight.
it out.
Look it out.
That's what builds determination.
Mm.
You have to have a mind focus with determination. So
Wow.
that helped me in school. That helped me in my career.
Yeah.
And
So you were like 10, 14 years in school in that regard, like
yeah.
after you came back from the war.
Mhm.
And you have been pretty much growing up in Tampa, Florida, and in Tampa Bay area, and Clearwater. And you said you were in St. Petersburg, right? And you grew up in Lago. You said
I grew up in Largo. Yeah.
Lago, and then as you said the story, when you ended up becoming an engineer and graduated as an engineer from University of South Florida. Back then, how many students? We didn't hear that number. How many students at USF back then?
Oh, I don't remember.
Maybe 10,000? No?
I do remember one thing about USF.
Yeah.
Being in the engineering department,
Uh-huh.
you have a certain mindset.
Yeah.
Engineers have a very logic driven mind.
Yes.
It is only driven by logic.
Yes.
And when you go to somebody's house
Mhm.
and they're having a little get together
Yes.
and people start talking about different things, an engineer would look at them and think, how do they think of these things? And I had to take a course. I wanted to take an elective course. I had
Mhm.
to have one more.
Mhm.
So I decided, let me take a psychology course over on the other side of the campus.
Interesting.
And I got over there, and the students in that class were asking questions that I couldn't conceive of the questions. I would never have thought to ask a question
Like that.
like that because my mind wasn't geared that way.
Ah.
And their minds are geared toward the social end of the spectrum. And you can present a math problem, and half of them won't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
So there's two separations
To
there.
separation.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I worked for about 6 years for this combined course at Left Griner.
Mhm.
And then I decided I had an opportunity. Somebody called me from a land development company that
Mhm.
used to be Criterion Corporation.
Mhm.
And I was offered a job
Mhm.
as a developer.
Like what kind of developer?
So we developed, have you heard of Northdale?
Not Del Mabry?
No,
Oh, just
Northdale up on, it's on Dale Mabry. It's a big subdivision. You,
okay.
you know where
I know the
the,
North Del area, like north side, right?
well, Northdale.
Yeah.
You know where Whole Foods is up there?
Whole Food. Yes. Yeah. 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 I know the
That's
Carrollwood.
all Northdale.
Oh, what was Carrollwood then? Carrollwood
It's
area is the same thing.
Carrollwood's larger area.
Oh, the North
Northdale
Del is
is Northdale is part of that.
where the Wawa is right now. Wawa and Whole
Right.
Food. Yes. Yeah.
And that subdivision goes way back in. There's many, many villages.
Hmm.
I don't know how many, like 2,000, 2,500 homes.
Right now, like there should be more than that, right?
And we developed all that.
Oh wow. Okay.
Developed all the roads and everything and would sell the developed infrastructure
Uh huh.
of the roads, the sewer, the water, the drainage
Yeah.
to home builders. They would come in and build the homes. We developed North Lakes, Northdale, Bloomingdale,
Yeah.
project in Tarpon Springs.
Top of spring. All right.
Mhm.
Okay.
So there was we probably did 1,000, the roadway, the infrastructure for 1,000 homes a year.
1,000 homes a year.
Yeah. And I worked for them for about 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got called back to the company I used to work for. So I got called back as a job offer to the company I used to work for.
Mm-hmm.
The three guys who had gone out together,
Mm-hmm.
they had since then parted ways. Each one of them had their own company now.
So
I,
your friends, they were your friends as well.
Mhm. So the structural engineer
Mhm.
called me back
Mhm.
because he got a job. He was submitting a proposal
Uh-huh.
to somebody over in Polk County who was doing a land development project
Mm-hmm.
of 2,500 acres.
Mhm.
And he asked me to come in and take that over for him
Uh-huh.
and be the lead
Uh-huh.
in that land development.
Okay.
So he hired me back away from this other company,
Uh-huh.
Criterion, and who was starting to downsize anyway
Yeah.
because the owner of that was going to move back to Spain and he was sort of closing out.
Okay. I see.
So I went back with the structural engineer,
Uh-huh.
and at the time I was hired, I was there for about 2 weeks, and the developers or the owners of the land
Mm-hmm.
decided to go with a different engineering company.
Okay.
So they lost the contract.
Oh, your friend, this company
Yes.
lost the contract. Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're working as a structural engineer. Or?
There were some land development
Uh-huh.
projects that were going on,
Uh-huh.
so I took care of those.
Okay, that's what you took care of. Okay.
And I worked with that company for somewhere 6 months, a
Mm.
year, somewhere in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 1982, April Fool's Day,
1982. Okay.
I decided to go on my own,
Ah,
hang out my shingle, and start my own business.
congratulations. 1982. 30 more than 34, 5 years. No, 40. Sorry. Oh, 44, 45 years before, like ago.
So I started my business on April 1st,
How? Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day.
Okay.
But it wasn't a foolish thing at all.
What was the business about?
Well, I was doing work on the side at nights and weekends
Mm-hmm.
for a home builder, a
Okay.
local home builder.
Okay.
And they were doing subdivisions.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do their design of the subdivision and lot grading plans and sewer plans and whatever they needed.
Gotcha.
And I was doing that on the side, and they just kept giving me so much that I couldn't handle it on the side. And
Yeah.
this is how a lot of individual businesses start,
Uh-huh.
especially in engineering.
Uh-huh.
People start doing a little on the side, a little bit on the
Little on the
side.
side.
No different than a carpenter, a plumber. If
Mm-hmm.
he's working for and it gets an opportunity to pick up a couple dollars on the side,
Yes.
but all of a sudden they get more, and people
Yeah.
talk. And if they do a good job, they refer somebody
Yes.
and refer them to somebody else. And all of a sudden, it gets so much that you have to start your own business.
So back then there was no social media marketing. There was not big marketing campaign like we have today. So back then it's like mostly word to mouth, right? Like
Word of mouth.
word of mouth. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. And
You
referral.
do a good job for somebody
Yeah.
at a reasonable cost,
Yeah.
in a reasonable time,
Uh-huh.
and they'll tell somebody else about it.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden, somebody else knocks on your door and say, "Hey, would you do this for me?"
Yeah.
Sure. And that's
Uh-huh.
how it all starts.
That is okay. So from your career, which is the Air Force, the first is that first career that you had, like first job? What is your first job? What was it? Your first job?
My first job
Job, yeah.
after I got out of the military,
No. As you grew up as a kid and after as a teenager, did you do any jobs or any
while I
career?
was going to school, oh yes, I worked at pharmacies.
Mm-hmm.
I worked at drugstores.
Mm-hmm.
I worked bagging groceries.
Uh-huh.
And I think one of the most rewarding jobs I had
Uh-huh.
is I worked for a fellow in Largo.
Uh-huh.
Um, his name was Milton Turnberg,
Okay.
and he was a specialized landscaper.
Uh-huh.
He didn't mow lawns.
Uh-huh.
He didn't pull weeds.
Uh-huh.
What he did was mainly take care of properties in Bel Air, which is a very expensive part of Largo.
Hmm.
And we would go in, take care of all the beds, plant new bushes, take stuff out, design stuff. It was strictly a design landscape
Hmm.
business. He was so informative.
Mhm.
I would say, Milton, what's this plant? He would give me the common name. He
Mhm.
would give me the Latin name. He would tell me what season they grow in,
Mhm.
what kind of soil they have,
Yeah.
everything about that plant. And
Huh.
no, I have never asked him about a plant that he didn't know everything about. He was
Hmm.
super smart. And he was a graduate of University of Florida.
Oh, yeah.
I worked for Milton during my high school years.
Mm-hmm.
And not high school, I'm sorry, but USF when I was,
USF. Oh, yeah.
and going to junior college.
Uh-huh.
And that's where I met my wife. So, my first wife,
Your first wife, if you don't mind. So you're with second wife now.
third wife.
Third wife. Okay. Yeah, we will talk about that if you don't mind later,
But,
like a relationship stuff. But I'm interested in like learning about your career and your
but,
business.
but then in 1982, when I started my business,
Uh-huh.
I was working out of my apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and
You were not married back then when you started your business. Were you married?
I was just ending my first marriage.
Oh,
Yeah, there
okay.
were some problems there that
It didn't go well.
it just didn't work out. We're still very good friends today.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
perfect. Okay.
we have two wonderful daughters,
Uh-huh.
and so, but it was good. It was an experience in life, a road
Yeah,
that you go
yeah,
down, and
definitely. Yes. Yeah.
all of a sudden the road ends. You got to back up.
Back up. Yeah, find another road.
Yeah. So um, I would work during the summer
Mhm.
to make money,
Yes.
to put gas in my car and pay my
Mhm.
bills and
Yeah,
stuff like
definitely.
that.
Yeah.
And Then eventually I moved back into my house that I owned.
Mhm.
I started working out of my house.
Uh-huh.
Then I found another house.
Uh-huh.
And I decided to build an office
Hmm.
because I was subcontracting all my drafting services out to different people that I know
Mm-hmm.
who do CAD work
Mm-hmm.
or hand drafting at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just getting too much to have all these people coming to my house all the time
Yes.
and trying to do things out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
What I needed to do was, because I had so much work,
Yeah.
I needed to hire employees.
Yes.
And so started the paperwork
Mm.
of payroll and
Yes.
taxes
Yes.
and all
Yes.
these
All
things.
this is stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Even back then.
even back then.
Yeah.
And so I built this building.
So when was that?
This was in 1987 or thereabouts.
1987. Similar to my age.
So we designed this building. I designed a site with two buildings.
Oh, all these two buildings, both of them you did designed.
Well, yeah, in a site plan.
Yes.
And got all the approvals for it.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a house
Mm-hmm.
at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And back then I had about 12 employees, 10,
Okay.
10 to 12 employees.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
now you're full-time a businessman.
Full-time businessman with engineers working for me,
Yes.
drafting's working for me,
Yeah.
surveyors working for me,
Yeah.
administrative people,
Yes.
and it just kept growing.
Hmm.
And it got to the point that I was working almost 7 days a week,
Mm-hmm.
nights.
Like I do right now.
That's correct.
You know.
Long hours.
Yes.
My employees would get their paychecks on Friday.
Mm.
They would say, "Thanks, boss. Have a good weekend."
Yes.
And they would take off, have a good weekend, and I would be in here doing invoices and proposals and
Yeah.
checking plans to make sure everybody had something to do
Yeah.
when they came in Monday.
Um,
At the same time,
Yeah.
I had other businesses going.
Also, now how many business you have now? Like you have this business engineering.
I just have this business now.
Okay.
I've learned.
Okay.
But back in the 90s,
Uh-huh.
I had a commercial fishing business.
Commercial
Fishing.
fishing. Yeah, I remember. I was going to ask you. I remember you mentioned about it.
We would go out and get live rock
Mhm.
with the plants and sponges and anemones and
Yeah.
catch little fish.
Yeah.
We were selling those wholesale.
Yeah.
My wife at that time was taking care of commercial saltwater tanks, changing the water, changing the fish, changing the rocks, make sure everything's right. And we would go out on Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesdays
Mhm.
out in the Gulf. We also had a sideline there where if we saw a grouper or a snapper, we would pick that up.
Mm-hmm.
We would sell those
Mm-hmm.
to restaurants
Mm-hmm.
and to wholesalers,
Mm-hmm.
fish markets.
Okay.
And then we would take the live rock and the tropical fish
Yeah.
and sell those to wholesalers down in Ruskin, and they would ship them all over the United States.
Yeah.
At the same time, in 1985, I got my general contractor's license. So I was doing contracting. Lift stations, we were doing truck washes, the automatic truck washes for semi trucks, um, pipe work, drainage,
Mm-hmm.
sewer. And that got to be just too much. There were too many problems in that. And like the song says, you got to know when to hold them, you got to know when to fold them, and you got to know when to walk away.
Ooh,
So I walked away from I finished all the jobs,
Uh-huh.
but I gave up the general contractors.
Okay, so you stopped getting general contracts.
We gave up the commercial fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do any more dive charters or fishing charters because I'm a licensed captain also.
Okay.
So now I focus on engineering. In 2001,
Mm-hmm.
I had a young fellow that was a very bright engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I turned over all the assets to him.
Mm.
And I said, I'm going to retire. I'm going to work about 10 hours a week,
Yeah.
and that's all I want to do.
Yeah.
I couldn't sell him the business
Uh-huh.
because the business was my name. So it's a sole proprietorship.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what was the business name? Like
Robert J. Yugan Schmid, P.E.
it was like LLC, like registered.
Well, it was a sole proprietorship.
Okay, so okay.
LLC is limited liability.
Limited liability,
corporation.
yes. Okay, I see, I see. I didn't know the difference.
So I can't really sell the business because the business is my name.
Mm,
And
yeah.
He can't adopt my name.
Yes, you yeah.
So I sold him the assets of the business.
Okay.
All of the tables, the desks, the computers, the computer software,
Uh-huh.
and also he took over the employees.
And the clients?
And I stayed on
Mm-hmm.
with him
Mm-hmm.
to make during the drawdown period
Uh-huh.
to get him started and
Mhm.
make sure he was doing everything right.
Mm-hmm.
Because back when I worked for all these different companies,
Mm-hmm.
I was learning what to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I was also learning what not to do.
Yeah.
I was learning by their mistakes.
By mistakes. Yeah, I think it pretty much everybody like some people they have to learn from mistakes. They make a lot of mistakes. Like I have made mistakes and learn even.
But I was fortunate enough
Mm-hmm.
to work for a company
Mm-hmm.
that I would see these mistakes being made.
Yes.
And I'd remember not to make those mistakes when I'm on my own.
Mm. They're like document in your mind, in your head.
That's right.
Ooh.
That's right.
Not the written documents.
So in 2001,
Uh-huh.
I didn't keep all my clients. I didn't keep any of my clients. All my clients went with the business.
Okay.
So he got all those. We didn't have to enter into a non-compete clause
Mm-hmm.
because I just wanted to retire. I didn't want anything to do. So even today, he has a very good, thriving business.
Even today.
Yes.
Okay.
And he's in Tampa, right up the street. Actually.
Oh, what is his now? Does he have a name now? Like because it's sort of a business.
Yeah. He's independent. I mean,
Independent.
He's got a firm, right?
Okay.
It's a very good firm.
Okay.
So, but I do a totally different type of work now.
Hmm.
I work mainly solving problems for homeowners associations,
Okay.
condominiums associations,
Mm-hmm.
subdivisions that have erosion, have drainage problems, have parking problems.
Yes.
They get cited by government of some kind.
Yeah.
This is code enforcement says you got to fix this, you got to fix that.
Yes.
So they come to me and say, and I work mainly for property management firms that put me in touch with the homeowners associations.
I see.
The problem with only trying to retire and only working 10 hours didn't last long. People kept calling me. We had this for you to do. We had that for you to do. And I, presently today,
Uh-huh.
I have about 12 jobs on my board
That you have
currently
to
working on
right today. Wow. You're still working, no retirement.
And I'm still working. I don't have any plans of retirement. I'm having fun.
That is what was my next
I'm
question.
doing things that I love to do, socially interactive,
Yes.
keeping my mind very active,
Yeah.
keeping my body active,
Yes.
going out and meeting people, and getting a good feeling when I can design something
Hmm.
and take that concept all the way through construction to the end,
Hmm.
coordinating all these different people
Yes.
to get the job done.
Yeah.
It gives me a total feeling of satisfaction.
Wow.
Now, why
Perfect.
would a person want to retire if they're getting that kind of satisfaction in their life?
That is a dream. Like yeah, like
And
I
what
yes.
would I do? I would sit home and do things that don't give me satisfaction. Not that I don't love spending my time with my wife,
Yes. I
which I
mean, I
do
know you do. Yes, I
dearly,
know you do.
dearly,
Yes. Yeah.
and we have a lot of interaction that,
Yes.
doing things and going places. I've
I
been
know.
all over the world
Yes.
with her and
Yeah.
enjoy my time immensely.
Yes.
But I get up in the morning and the first thing after I get a cup of coffee is on the computer.
On the
Let's go to
computer.
work.
Let's go to work.
Yeah.
Even today.
Even today,
Like
82 years old.
wow. And actually, I didn't believe that when you said that you were 82. I couldn't believe it. You look like really very energetic young person. You always come here and you want to plant the waters and taking care of this stuff and I didn't believe it. I thought like maybe around 60. And
The whole key to that, I think,
uh-huh.
of course, is good heredity,
Yes.
but is keep going.
Hmm.
Don't slow down. When you slow down, you slow down.
Yeah, I believe you because in life like there is you have to find something that you do enjoy and also meaningful and that help other people and help yourself and you find satisfaction in it and that's what else you want like because we're gonna die one day and within lifetime when you look back and you have to have something that you can oh I enjoyed my life.
Enjoyed it and look at the accomplishments that I've made. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Not the financial end of it,
Yes.
although I'm doing okay.
Yes.
But that doesn't bother me.
Yeah, I mean, you
But
don't have to be a billionaire all the time. No, that is not the point.
it's getting something done
Yeah.
and feel a satisfaction of getting it done and that you're helping other people solve their problems.
He is success. He is your success. That's a success story. Successful story. Like you achieve your success.
That's right.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, I knew that I'm gonna learn so much, and this is fantastic so far. And I did not remember that you talk about the military life. And I thought that you went to school and you became an engineer, and then you start working as an engineer. And but now it's totally different. And today's young today's nowadays like this today's world, and there are so many people who do not want to like get involved with education. They say no, I don't want to go to school. I just want to do something that I'm going to be happy with. And but they ended up not doing what they um, really want to do. But what is your advice for young people today?
Yeah, yeah. I see so many people
Yeah.
that go from job to job
Mm-hmm.
to job, not only from job to job, but career to
Yes.
career.
Yeah.
And they're not happy doing this. They're not
Yes.
happy doing a plumber.
Yeah.
So they start doing electrical work.
Yes.
Then they're doing landscape work.
Yes.
Then they're doing something else, carpenter work.
Yes.
Choose one thing
Yes.
that makes you happy,
Yes. Okay.
that gives you satisfaction.
Satisfaction. Yeah.
And don't waste your time on the other stuff.
Yes.
It's good to learn
Yes.
how to do plumbing and electrical and all
Yes.
that. It's
They're very
fun
handy.
fun to learn.
Yeah.
But you've got to narrow your field down
Mm-hmm.
to find out what makes you happy in life.
That's a good point. Yeah, I think I found what makes me happy, and I'm working on it. Working very hard on it, building make it viral media, and also like I believe in helping people, and helping businesses, helping people individually. And that's why we decided to do this podcast and to help people, to encourage people and encourage younger generation and even people, anyone who wants to do something in life. And there are so many stories today in the world that, like your story, that we never heard of. So I want to publish these unheard stories to everyone, and that will encourage them and wake them up. Like you woke up after the military service and to learn, and then you not only just like 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, you ended up going to school 14 years. Like that's a long time, and you had the discipline that you didn't have before. So that means you had it in you, but it wasn't awakened,
That's
right?
right. Discipline is required in life.
Yes.
If you don't have discipline, you're going to wander.
Yeah.
You're going to float from here to here. You've got to have discipline. Discipline will give you direction.
That's what I was going to ask you. What direction? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So you're gonna get it. With the discipline, you find a direction, and which has a destination, and that throughout the journey, you enjoy, you find satisfaction in life.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Interesting. So your business name was your name, right, Mr. Bob? And in the beginning, like I call him my grandpa. But Mr. Boss is what I call him. And but really, like you are a very nice person that I ever met here in Tampa, Florida. And now there are so much, history within you that most people may not have heard of about Tampa area and about the development of businesses. So, in terms of business growth in Tampa, what do you see now and back then, like the growing of Tampa Bay area in terms of business and everything?
Tampa has a lot of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
It always did.
Yes.
It has a lot of opportunities in the housing market
Mm-hmm.
and in the business world.
Yes.
Whether you have a restaurant, whether you have a bookstore, no matter what you have,
Yeah.
there's a lot of opportunities here.
In Tampa.
The key is to get in and find something at the right time.
Yeah.
You've got to look around. If you want to open a restaurant, you got to do your homework.
You're right. What about people? What about who you know? Your network.
They will help you.
They will. You need a network then, right?
Even you go downtown in the city of Tampa,
Mm-hmm.
not only the city of Tampa, but in a lot of other cities in the
Mhm.
area
Yeah.
and counties
Yes.
have development departments
Mm-hmm.
that you can go to them
Mm-hmm.
for assistance,
Okay.
for guidance.
Yeah.
They will show you the areas that they feel are going to develop.
Mm-hmm.
There's,
Oh wow, that's a good trip. Even today.
yes,
Then we can make planning with those.
you can go to the planning department down there. They will show you what they have in their books,
I need to go.
not only for infrastructure design,
Yes.
um, but also for actual business opportunities. Um, I just finished work on design on which I said I would never do
Mm-hmm.
on a church,
Uh-huh.
very large church. Um, but the pastor was my neighbor.
Oh.
So he and I became, of course, very good
Yes.
friends.
Yes.
I do work for HOAs.
Uh-huh.
I don't like, right now,
Yeah.
I don't do development work.
Uh-huh.
I don't do convenience stores. I don't do schools anymore. I don't do churches.
Okay.
None of that
Okay.
industrial stuff. So, but he was my neighbor, so he asked me to do the site plan.
I see.
Yeah, the site plan is in Pasco County.
Okay.
And the county was so helpful in getting us through the permitting stage and the construction phase
Mm-hmm.
and the ability to secure grants at the end for landscape grants
Mm-hmm.
so they could get their opening,
Mm-hmm.
their CO,
Mm-hmm.
certificate of occupancy,
Mm-hmm.
um, in a reasonable time. And so they could satisfy their bank loans.
Okay. So, quick thing before I forget, you mentioned about it, like if we can go downtown and then get more information about where to start business or business opportunities that even modern day we can find those areas
Mhm.
and start businesses. And then now you're talking about grants. You mean like financially helping people to start business?
Yes. Well, I don't know about starting a business.
Business. Okay.
That would be, I believe, more in the SBA, the Small Business
Okay.
Association. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so there is a small business association in Tampa area.
Well, small business SBA is
Yeah,
very large,
very large.
but because I'm a sole proprietor,
Uh-huh.
that started my business from scratch, and I scratched all the way up.
Yes.
So starting a small business like I did
Mm-hmm.
from scratch,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get and I didn't need any financial aid
Yes.
because I didn't jump into it all at once.
Yeah, you took it
I,
slow.
I took it slow,
Mm-hmm.
slow and steady.
Mm-hmm.
First, I started out with 2 drafters.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 6 months later, I went picked up another drafter
Mm-hmm.
as the workload came in,
Yeah.
and I didn't feel it was right to go out and get loans
Mm-hmm.
to have my business grow faster.
Mm.
I worked with, back when I was a griner,
Mm-hmm.
I had a dive buddy that
Uh-huh.
sat right next to me,
Uh-huh.
right behind me, actually.
Uh-huh.
And we would go out diving together.
Uh-huh.
And finally, I left the company.
Yeah.
He left the company. We had started our own business.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Um, his wife was in a ticketing agent
Mm-hmm.
that would get me because we were doing a lot of world traveling at that time.
Yeah.
Um, she would get our airline tickets or cruise tickets or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I went over to their house one time.
Mm-hmm.
Within probably 6 months or a year,
Mm-hmm.
he had 125 people working for him.
Oh.
Yeah. And I said, Charlie,
Mm-hmm.
how does it feel
Yeah.
to have so much growth
Yeah.
in a company?
Yeah.
And he says, don't ever do it.
What?
He says, don't ever grow that fast.
That big.
He says, I can come in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
I can walk down the hall
Mm-hmm.
to the little cafe we have there
Uh-huh.
to get a cup of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Half the people I pass in the hallway, I don't even know.
Because
He
it's a lot of people.
Because the people come in too quick
Yeah.
and they're doing different things. He says, I can't control it.
Yes.
He says, I come back to my office with my coffee and I get phone calls from attorney
Yes.
saying they're going to sue me. Sue me for what? I didn't know I was doing this.
Ooh.
He says, don't grow so fast. Don't ever, ever grow so fast.
Take it
Take it slow,
slowly.
step at a time, as you can handle it. If you can do that, you don't need loans.
You're right. You're right. That's what my struggle to like in the beginning.
Mhm.
As I go to school, I want to create a history, and there were a couple of mistakes I made with the school. Actually, with then Corona thing came in, that slowed me down. My dad passed away, that slowed me down. But I also started with no loans for the businesses. But school loans, I didn't want to have it up until 2022. and then ended up like having some school loans, but not too much, but I think I can manage it. And that's a great way that I think we can start without having too much like in debt, and then you can get more uh, like familiar with your business and get more confidence. And then if it is a really good chart, then if you need funds, I would go with that way. I would get the funds from that one as a loan and then shoot for that big thing. That's a slow start, like starting slowly and take your time and building up and slowly step by step. I think that's a great advice to start this with.
Because that really helps your cash flow.
Yeah.
If you have to go out and get a loan,
Yes.
then you're paying interest on that loan,
Mm-hmm.
which doesn't help your cash flow.
You are right. Yeah.
So,
If you start slowly and then you build up your cash flow step by step, you start from $100 maybe. You only have one client, $100 project, $200, $300, and go and grow little by little.
that's right.
Good.
That's right.
Mhm. Actually, now, like as we said in the beginning, we have a lot to share. Specifically, I have a lot of questions for you. There are so much that in life that it not only just business, and we in this world, we live in this world with our families and wife or kids and everybody, right? And I'm single person. Business is my marriage.
For now.
I don't know about the future, but the thing is, there are people out there. They do have families, not like my story. I mean, I had my parents; they both passed away recently. That's all right. But helping people, even with people who work with me, they also have families, and I am very happy when they get work from me and they can, they live because of that, right?
Exactly.
And so I find satisfaction by giving opportunities to other people, and I'm also finding more opportunities to grow. So your story, like you being, you have a really long history, like a big story and a lot of things to share. And I don't think that we can cover it today. We all already our past, like it's being hour and about 5-10 minutes. So I would like to have you again next week, and then I will record our next episode. And I like to learn, like if you have something. I mean, definitely you do have. So I like to share that with the world and all this experience you have, and all this insight that you gained and your experience. And I believe that as I have spoke to you before, and you have so much insight and knowledge and experience, and I wanna absorb it to me as well. And then share it with the world with this podcast, actually, MIB podcast. And that's why I started this podcast, and with this Make It Viral Media. We Make It Viral Media stand for helping businesses while we also growing as a business, and as an engineering firm, computer science and engineering firm as well. And I want to thank you to you for coming today. And then I'm expecting to see you next time. Stay tuned and subscribe to our channel, MIV Podcast, and also follow us on Facebook, Make It Viral Media, Instagram, Make It Viral Media, and even TikTok, and even LinkedIn. And stay in touch with us. And we are going to share a lot of knowledge, experience, stories, tips, and business tricks, and all that through this podcast. That is our purpose, that is our mission, and also our vision to share the knowledge and experience that everyone had and everyone gains while in business. And I think that will help us to sharpen our path easily. Once we learn and when we know what other people did, what other people faced, it becomes easier for us to build our company, our business, our journey, and live easily in this life. So I find I find it helpful when I learn stories from other people. That's why I read stories, read books, listening to talks, listening to podcasts, and all that, because I know it is going to help me. So I'm enjoying this podcast even for myself, actually learning things that you shared already. And thank you very much. So see you next time, and stay in touch and for the next episode.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.